Hey guys, Toby Mathis with Infinity Investing. I want to take you back more than 20 years ago. About, I think it was 1999. Myself and one of my main partners, Clint Coons, that you've probably seen before, we were investing and we were doing something that I would call gambling investing, which means we were hoping the market would go up and we were investing in options. We were the option buyer as opposed to the option seller. And we made a lot of money. I remember doing one flight where I got on the plane and we didn't have access to anything. Once you're on the plane, you were in a little steel tube and you got nothing from the outside world. So we land and we would have made $170,000, $180,000, which is a lot of money back then. Even now, it's still a lot of money. We blew it up over 7 figures. And what we were doing is doing something called leaps, which is long-term options. We thought we were geniuses. And then the market did what the market oftentimes does, which it took a complete nosedive 3 months later. And we ended up giving most of it back. And we were doing everything. We were doing naked puts. We were doing long, buying leaps. We were doing all this option trading, the stuff you still hear about today. And we said, you know what? That's just way too stressful. It doesn't make you a lot of money. And I realized something. I'm surrounded by investors. I have clients that have been making money consistently for 30 years. Why am I sitting here trying to play the gambling game and hope that the market does what I'm predicting it does? Hey, I buy an option and I hope and pray that it goes up. There's only one way I make money. That's if that market goes up. That's it. If you're the option seller, you have a lot of different options. In fact, realistically, you're not going to lose money because you could always roll out of the position. Or worst case scenario, you sell it at a profit if you're selling out of the money calls. And that's when it really hit me. I have a client that is well over $100 million of trading account. And I was talking about during the pandemic, the fact that energy, which was beaten down, was going to come roaring back. And would they ever consider buying options on that market? And they looked at me and they said, Toby, I just can't get my head around being the gambler. I can't get my head around being the buyer of options. And it solidified me. This is somebody who'd made hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in the market. And they were telling me, no uncertain terms, even when they know something's going up, and even when they know 99% of the time, they still couldn't get themselves to do it. Because once you've been on the other side, once you've been the casino, you'll never go back to being the gambler again, because you realize the odds of the gambler are guaranteed loss over a long enough period of time. In other words, if you go down to the casinos, and I live in Las Vegas, so I use casinos as my great example because they're billion-dollar casinos, and they're not built because gamblers win. They're built because over time, if a gambler plays long enough, they will lose every penny they gamble. And the stock market is no different. They're putting people into a position where they will lose. And they'll do this go with the flow, this trend trade stuff, and they'll do these short term. And I'm not saying that you're always going to lose. The statistics are that 5% of you that do this will make money in the long term. 5%. 95% will lose. So I'm not saying you're going to lose. I'm going to say that it's 95% certain that you're going to lose, but you might defeat those odds by being part of that 5%. If you're a male, if you're a guy, it's actually closer to 3.5% success because women do better than men in trading. I'm just saying that you don't want to be part of that section, that side of the investing that has such a little chance of making money. You want to be on the side of the investing that has a 95% chance of making money and statistically over time will do extraordinarily well. And that's what we teach at Infinity Investing. We look at it and say, how do I become the casino in my transactions? How do I become the party that gets the 95% win versus the party that gets the 5% win? And there are deliberate ways that you can do it. I should say that it's not super complicated, but it's more complicated than just simply going out and buying stocks and bonds. We want to buy things that compound. And in order to compound, you need to have multiple streams of income from that one purchase. And so we teach you how to become a stock market landlord. We know that if we buy the right types of companies, for example, we advocate purchasing companies that have had historical dividend increases for at least 10 years We like to see 25 and we love to see 50, which means they've increased the amount that they pay their shareholders every year for 50 years plus. That's your 3Ms, your Coca-Cola, your Procter & Gamble's, your Federal Realty Trust. Like there's a list of those companies that do that, but then we don't stop there. Now we have two types of income, right? The stock could go up and it's paying you out as well on a quarterly, sometimes monthly, no less than annual basis. And then we teach you how to rent it to others and be a landlord. And if you do those things, it's extraordinary of how fast things will compound, how fast things will grow. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say, I actually had this comment. I posted this on a TikTok video once when somebody asked me from a newspaper about the people that were doing all the retail investors doing a lot of aggressive option trading. And the person wrote back and they said, well, you must suck at options. And I said, everybody pretty much sucks at options when they're trying to buy and time the market. Statistically speaking, you're going to lose over time, 95% guarantee. And in my experience, I just know by looking at tax returns, it's at least 80% plus from what I've seen. Even with very, very good investors, it's this, they statistically lose. And here's a fun one. If you didn't know this, money managers, 92% of the time do not beat the market over a 15-year stretch. In other words, 92% of them are no better than if you had just bought the market. So anybody who says that they can time the market and they're a genius, just remember, the people that go to school, that get their masters, that go to the best schools on the planet and spend their whole life doing this, they still can't beat the overall market index 92% of the time. So why are we playing time the market? Why don't we get smart and say, hey, rather than fight this thing, allow us to just profit off of the very nature of the thing that I'm investing in. It's going to grow. You have inflation, which promotes growth. You have growth of industry. And if you're buying really good companies that pay you not one type of income, not just two, but you find that third type of income, you'd be surprised at how fast your account can grow. And that's what we're going to teach you at Infinity Investing. If you like this type of information, please subscribe to this channel. Please share it with others. And most importantly, like it if you appreciate what I just said. And again, it's all about the long term with us.